Denver just looks like a complete team.
The Nuggets, they are just such a phenomenal, fun team.
The real MVP is in Denver.
The Joker is just too much, man.
Like from top to bottom, they're deep on all five positions, and they got a deep bench, phenomenal coaching, two-time MVP Jokic running the show. Like Denver
Hmm.
just looks, they just look complete.
I mean, playoff Jimmy is a real thing.
It's him,
Yeah.
Butler, him, Butler.
Through the play-in tournament, get the eighth seed.
The improbable eight seed Miami Heat are, they're better than what their record showed. Get a player like Jimmy Butler that embodies Heat culture.
You can't count them out. You really can. I mean, I think they're the best eighth seed of all time. I feel like they can make it to the NBA Finals, man. What's going on, everybody? It is Super Span here with Julian Sanchez, aka Golden Arms 36. What's going on, Julian? How you doing?
Man, just recovering from that 7 game series. What
Hmm.
an epic series. What an epic ass game, dude. Like
Absolutely.
what an epic game 6. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly can't believe it. First, before we talk about the insanity that was the Heat versus Celtics Eastern Conference Finals, we'll do a quick summary, our takes on the Nuggets versus Lakers. Obviously, nobody can handle Nikola Jokic. Not even Anthony Davis, or briefly, I believe LeBron was guarding him at some point. Um, for some reason, they had Tristan Thompson in there, which was kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, the Lakers' Cinderella run, if that's what you want to call it, came to an end very abruptly. The Nuggets are just an absolutely insane team. I mean, Jokic, as I mentioned, is completely unstoppable. He had 8 total triple doubles. I believe that's throughout this entire postseason. Murray's had 7 30-point games, I saw. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm super happy for Jamal Murray. He had sort of a subpar beginning to this year when he came back, and he's really came into his own. And I mean, proved to us that he is a legitimate second star for Denver, right behind Nikola Jokic, who, I mean, arguably should have won his third MVP. But I mean, Embiid had a phenomenal year, but that obviously came up short with the Philadelphia 76ers there. But what are your takes on the Lakers versus Nuggets series?
Um, Pretty much expected in my end because I knew LA had no chance against Jokic and the Nuggets. Like I said, 2 videos already. They're the most complete team in this playoff. Credit to the Lakers though. I mean, they got to the Western Conference Finals after the way they started. I mean, they got swept, but it is what
Hmm.
it is. I mean, I'll still consider it as a success on their end because just by the way they started out the season. They started, I think, like 2 wins and 10 losses or something like that, something outrageous like that. And then for them to like rebuild the team on the fly and being able to like sustain some success into the playoffs, into the play in actually, then the playoffs, and then all the way to the conference finals. Hey, that's a good run for the Lakers. They just ran into an all-time great team, in my opinion, with an all-time great player.
Hmm.
Denver, holy crap, man! Like they're they look really good. Like there's no other way to describe it. They look really good, and it's the reason why they're in the finals. There's a reason why Jokic is the best big man in the NBA. Like he handled the Lakers that
Yeah,
whole series, triple double the entire series in a 4 game sweep.
yeah. It's honestly amazing to me that, first of all, I think the coolest thing is that Jokic was a second round pick. I mean, obviously, what a phenomenal pick by the Denver Nuggets. Shout out to AK. Hopefully he can work some of that magic over here. But yeah, like you said, they're the most complete team, I would say, in the NBA overall. I mean, you got Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, who I feel like is a little underrated. he's not like an insane scorer or anything like that, but I feel like he's a very solid player, solid piece for that team. But then, like we said, Jamal Murray, they are just an unbelievable team, and Jokic leading that entire squad. It's gonna be hard to see what Miami can do in the finals, but we'll get back to that at later on in this video here. But yeah, like you said about the Lakers too, it's impressive that they made it to the Western Conference Finals based on how they started this season. They everybody thought that they were gonna give their high draft pick to the Pelicans, and there were a ton of just people just dogging on the Lakers. I'm not a Lakers fan myself, obviously. If you guys couldn't tell by both this podcast and my background here, but I mean, I like to give credit where credit is due. They made it through the play-in and made it all the way to the West Finals. Not a lot of teams nowadays are going to be able to beat a team like Denver, and it's crazy that they're becoming this powerhouse essentially, which I feel like they can sustain this success for years to come. As long as they can keep this group together and, barring any sort of injury setbacks, anything like that, they're a phenomenal team. They're so much fun to watch. They're another team that I'm really happy for. I love seeing teams that in the last 5 years or so didn't have a lot of success. And Denver, while they were coming up in the rankings, um, they just didn't have a lot of success. But they built this team and they built a solid foundation. They really got lucky with drafting Jokic, but you know, it's hard not to feel good for them. And yeah, I mean, it's all credit where credit is due when it comes to Denver. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about that series. We could just move on to the bread and butter of this episode, and that is the
Oh man.
insane series with the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. Obviously, right off the bat, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. The Miami Heat almost blew a 3-0 series lead against Boston. Um, I mean, Jason Tatum sort of looked flat a little bit in this series. Jimmy Butler came out guns blazing. And then, yeah, Boston came back and tied this series, forcing it to a game 7. And I mean, what else can we say? Jimmy Butler is an absolute beast. Couldn't be happier for him. Couldn't be happier for Spolstra. And shout out to Naperville native Max Struess, who's going to his first NBA Finals. I think it'd be look. I know. I said it before, but I think it'd be foolish to not or to say that the Miami Heat are not the best 8th seed of all time. I mean, you talk about a resilient team. They came in as, similar to the Lakers, came in through the play-in tournament and they made their way, beat the Milwaukee Bucks, which I honestly didn't see coming, but after that, I got to, I cannot believe that like they made it all the way to the NBA Finals. Even after blowing a 3-0 lead, which a lot of us, I would say almost everybody thought that the Celtics were going to take that series, especially after they tied it up and forced the game 7. But, Jason Tatum ended up getting hurt in the beginning of game 7 there, which honestly may or may not have been a huge factor. You never know. Especially with Jason Tatum, it seems like he's sort of wishy-washy, Sometimes he might go off for 50, but then other nights he might only hit like 5 or 10 field goals and shoot 30, 40%. Who knows? And then Jaylen Brown had a crap ton of turnovers, which you don't like to see, but I feel like the Celtics will be back in this situation. But again, props to Miami. I am completely in utter shock. Um, you know, I just can't believe it.
Honestly, to me, it's not too surprising Miami were able to beat the Celtics, and just the fashion though that they won really did surprise me because that first 3-0 series lead, whoa, like haven't seen the 8th seed just pounce on the second best team in the East 3-0. That was crazy enough. But then they lost 3 in a row, forced a game 7. That crazy game 6 for Miami to just get right back up after getting literally punched in the mouth, the knockout punch. They got it for a boxer's term. They got up at 9 and were able to come back and beat them by 20 points in game 7. That's
Hmm.
crazy enough as it is. But like this whole Miami team, pretty much showed it all playoff how resilient they are, how not to count them out. If Jimmy's on the team, they have a chance to win, literally.
Hmm.
And man, just props to the Miami Heat, but the Boston Celtics. I mean, I called this since the first video. Um, when when games get tight, they end up just doing dumb stuff, and when their 3-point shots aren't dropping, it's all one-on-one isolation. All right, well, our shots got to drop eventually, type of thing.
Yeah.
And you saw them panic a bunch of times. Even game 6, they had the game 1, then they gave it away the last 3 minutes of the game, only for them to get that miraculous buzzer beating game winner. But like this whole entire series, they always look like they always look so weak to me. Like they're so talented. They got all the talent in the world, but yet they lose in situations where they shouldn't have, or like get in situations where they shouldn't be in the first place, i.e. the 3-0 hole that they were in, or
Hmm.
giving games away to the Atlanta Hawks, or letting Philadelphia even in that series to begin with. Like to me, Boston just doesn't seem to have that killer instinct like most championship teams do, or the poise at least. Like they break down under pressure really easily. Like I just don't understand why a team that talented could just fold like that, especially when you have a two-headed monster like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. If one star is like not producing, then you expect the other star who's expecting a long-term contract and a max contract at that to step up, not uh, turn the ball over 8 times.
Yeah.
But man, just what a devastating way for Boston to lose, especially with all being the heavy favorites this season and being one of the top 3 teams in the East, only for them to just fall short. All the top 3 teams in the East this postseason didn't even qualify for the conference finals or even the NBA finals. The 8th seed
Hmm.
did, which is insane to me. The 8th seed
It's
of
so cool, man.
the Eastern Conference. Like to me, I find that really astonishing only because like we finally have a league where like the top heavy team you expect them to make it every year. Well, these are what isn't this what the NBA wanted? Like different teams of being in the NBA finals every year. Like this happened since 2020. Since 2020, or you want to go back a little further, 2019. We had the Raptors, Lakers, Milwaukee Bucks, Golden State Warriors, and now we got Denver and Miami. Like those are different teams. But
Yeah.
we're in an era of basketball which I think personally is going to be the greatest era of my life, where there's just going to be different teams every NBA Finals now. I feel like that's what we're heading towards, and it's great, great, great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just I don't know. I'm super happy for Jimmy Butler. He called it after getting eliminated last year that they're going to be back in this situation, except for this time they're going to win and make it to the NBA Finals. And I mean, I know I said earlier that it was sort of shocking and I unbelievable even, but yeah, after that first round gentleman sweep against the Milwaukee Bucks, I could see it all the way through. New York's not going to beat them. Okay. And then
Mm-mm.
Boston, I mean, that was sort of a toss up, which it sort of ended up being so, But like you said, when they were up 3-0, I thought they were going to sweep them. I mean, I really thought that there's no chance in hell that Boston was going to come back and tie the series, which, like I said, I thought for sure that Boston was going to win game 7, but as we've learned, you cannot count out Jimmy Butler. So, this sort of brings up our next segment here, the NBA Finals preview. So,
And then there were two.
yep, there are two teams remaining, as we mentioned, the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat. Julian, I'll let you start off here. What do you think is going to happen in the 2023 Finals?
Man, Miami Heat. Their improbable run, the 8th seed, making it to the NBA Finals. Too bad
Hmm.
they're gonna go against Denver. Hey, but it's gonna be for basketball purists though. This is gonna be the best series for us. If it goes 7, that'd be even better. But realistically, I think it'll be. I think Denver's got this 4-1. Like who who is gonna guard Jokic? Who is gonna guard Jokic? That's the only question I have. Because if your answer is Bam out of bio, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's been playing solid this whole playoff run, but that last series against the Celtics, oh man, it just was very rough for him.
Yeah.
And shoot, you got Bam out of bio guarding Jokic, maybe Kevin Love, like who? Like I
Oh,
said,
jeez.
at the end of the day, it all comes down to who's going to guard Jokic. And for the Denver Nuggets side, it's more so for me. How many triple doubles will will Jokic have? Will he have the 4 for the sweep, or will he average for all 7 games? It's just I don't man. Denver is just too good. Miami is their Cinderella run is to me it's over. Like it's over with. But that shouldn't discourage the Heat because overall their season is going to be a success no matter how you slice it. Like they're the team with nothing to lose, and Denver's the team with everything to gain.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
this is on Jokic's legacy now. Like he's got the MVPs, he's got all that. Now he just needs that ring. And if Miami somehow pulls off the miracle victory and becomes the first 8th seed to win the NBA championship, man, that's just icing on the cake for the Heat.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's a death sentence for the Nuggets.
Yeah. Well, I cannot count out the Miami Heat at this point. Just like I said in the beginning of the second round and before that, after our I'm sorry, after the first round, um you can't count out the Miami Heat. I feel like Jimmy Butler is a man on a mission. I know it's going to be impossible for the Heat to guard Nikola Jokic. I feel like he's going to just score a million points, get a million rebounds, assists, whatever. Because you're right. I mean, Bam Adebayo he's a good defender, but Jokic is just a freak of nature. I mean, his footwork, his passing ability, his scoring overall, the dude is just an all-timer. And when you go up against an all-timer, you're not going to stop them. You can only hope to detain them. Um with that being said, I feel like the Miami Heat are just too determined to lose. I feel like Miami's going to take this in 6. Um I mean, like I said, they just they're too skilled, they're too determined. Jimmy Butler is pissed because even even though he's made it to the finals, I feel like everybody's going to count them out. Everybody's going to say they're going to get swept by Denver, but I just feel like Jimmy Butler has one more just FU performance in him. I just Jimmy Jeffrey Butler. I just Can't
Oh,
count out Jimmy.
I feel the same way. That's why I gave him one game, because that
Yeah.
one game that one game is going to be the Jimmy game. Like, I mean, in order for this, like, in order for the Heat to even make this a series, the whole collective got to step up. Like,
Yeah.
for a bad of a series Bam Adebayo had, he cannot have the same kind of performance for the finals. And for as much as Caleb Martin and Gabe Vincent has stepped up, they gotta keep up that production, you know. And they might get Tyler Hero back, so they got another shooter that can add into this to the NBA Finals roster. And as for the Nuggets, you know, like I say, Jokic, but then you got the other guys on their team ready to step up, like Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter
MPJ, yeah.
Jr. Yep, those are the guys. So like both teams really match up well against each other. It's just that one X factor is Jokic, obviously. But hey, man, this is every hoop head's dream NBA Finals right here, dude. This is pure basketball. This finals ain't for the casual fan for sure. This is for hoop heads like you and me and everybody else that just loves basketball. This is the one right here. The media wanted Lakers Celtics.
Yeah.
Pure basketball heads wanted this series. Heat
Yeah.
Nuggets.
Yeah. And I cannot wait. Um, the reason I think the Heat can do it is because, you touched on it a little bit. You said everybody has to click for them. And I feel like so far everybody has. I mean, we've seen the resurgence of Duncan Robinson. I mean, they still overpaid the hell out of him, but I mean, he's
Finally getting
shooting
his money's
again.
worth.
Yeah, he's shooting again. He makes great cuts. He just, I don't know. And then they got Max Strus. Tyler Hero most likely is coming back, I would imagine. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's why he was out the entire Eastern Conference Finals. This team is confident, determined. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if Denver won. I wouldn't be surprised if Denver swept them. But my prediction right here and now is Heat and 6. I just have to go with my man Jimmy Butler, and can't count him out. He is just too determined. And I mean, you got Spoelstra. He's gonna try to cook up something against Jokic. You're not gonna stop him, but fingers crossed for the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler hopefully getting his first ring.
Right. Oh, let me give a shout out to Udonis Haslam,
Mm,
seventh NBA Finals appearance, dude.
hmm You think he's
Since
gonna play?
2000. Ah, man. You know what? He'll play like in garbage time at the very least, like how they did with Andre Iguodala last year. You know,
Yeah.
he wasn't getting any run, but then when they had the blowout W's, there was Iguodala right there. I mean, that's the least they can do, especially since he's retiring after this year.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, at long last. No, shout out to Udonis Haslam, man. He seems like for sure the type of guy that you just want on your team. Excellent veteran presence, and obviously in the twilight of his career, he was a great player.
Mhm.
Um I fully expect him. Did he say he was going to be on the coaching staff at all? Or at
Um,
least
no, but I mean, you would assume that's his next step because he's basically already a coach, and you know he's
yeah,
on the
right.
bench.
Yeah. But this is a little bit shorter of video than usual. We're gonna end it right here. The finals start tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Heat versus Nuggets should be an exciting series, but we're gonna call it here, guys. Please like and subscribe, share the video, turn on your notifications. Go check out Julian's channel. I'll put a link in the description as I always do. And I'll see you guys next time.
Peace out, y'all.